Hello and welcome to our garden class in Warner Springs, California. Today we're talking about size and design, and I was on vacation in Arizona and found many things to bring home and share with you all. Gardening in Warner Springs means a lot of different things depending on what part of our 20-mile stretch you happen to be on. Today I'll talk about super tiny, mid, and larger spaces, but not commercial growing spaces, which we also have. Size is indeed relative. Even if you only have a small space, don't despair, as there is always a way with creative thinking. So if seeds are not your thing, consider buying a small grown plant. Even grocery stores sell them, sometimes in the food area because a person can harvest some of the leaves and have a root ball with a tiny bit of soil. Well, that can be planted. Find a beautiful pot and you have made design and food. The previous page had a glazed clay pot. These are plastic. The pros are they hold water well, they have many different shapes and sizes. With a little tray underneath, they are safe on nice furniture, and they're cheap. The cons is that the plastic can be toxic for the food you are growing, and hence you. And when they easily split, melt, or disintegrate, they go to the landfill, and that's a bad thing. Use a used pot. Wash it in between plantings because bacteria can be dormant and spread to the new plants, and you can't figure out why they're doing poorly. Use a 10% bleach and vinegar. I use white vinegar as it's cheaper, and baking soda. Scrub. Or soak. Dry in the sun. The plastic can look old, and WD-40 or tire spray perks them up, and then wash the residue off because there's like a slippery residue. I cut this wine bottle in half-ish. This makes a self-watering plant holder from trash. A wick brings the water to the upper chamber. I used an old t-shirt. Put some of the shirt into the top section with the soil on top, and then bring it down so it touches the water below. Small plants, perhaps even microgreens, can go in there. Now, head out for vacation. So we're not talking about the space you dream about having, but the actuality of what you have. What is your daily or seasonal sun like? What's most important to me, meaning you, like if you're Italian and make lots of sauces, you probably want tomatoes and garlic. If it's a small space, choose just those things. Water. Is it irrigation or do you have to carry buckets? Do you want that exercise? This image is from a garden tour in Tucson. It's made from recycled plastic. The irrigation looks kind of like an afterthought. The taller part of the planter means less bending. The short part, with these chunky stable blocks, allows you to sit and tend your plants. Here's a close-up. There's some nice colors in this recycled block of plastic. How could you use this in your garden design? This is a country look. It's casual and wild. Use scrap wood because it looks best. Now the paint, which can be toxic, and peel, which means cleaning up. Don't use lead paint. No railroad ties. Acrylic paint or linseed oil if you're going for the straight wood aesthetic. Build a circumference, but remember to protect against the gophers down below. Put down a hardware cloth which is wired welded mesh. Wired. It is welded wire mesh, and it comes in a roll. Perhaps I can introduce you now to the keyhole garden. It's been very popular. It originated in Zimbabwe in the 1990s. There are many modifications, so let's take a look at what might work for you in your space. This one is built of stone. It is rough, has red grout. It has rounded decorative stones on the top, which is good for not getting scratched up while working in the space. You walk in and you can move around in a large garden in a small space. There is often a composting tower where every day you can add your kitchen scraps. The bottom is open and it feeds the worms. And drainage is very important, so check out this diagram. Southern exposure is best. Smaller plants in the interior space, taller ones on the outside ring, so it's easy for harvesting. Making a basic keyhole garden is really pretty simple. Select the site by accessibility, sunlight, and beauty. Measure an 8-foot circle. 3 feet is about the extent of human reach. A path must be at least 18 inches wide. And now's a good time to contemplate the height. Some compost collection is done in a woven basket in the center. Permaculture is a great buzzword. Hugelkultur is a raised bed using tree limbs below, like low in the ground, and it raises so you don't have to use so much soil. Pause to read this at your own pace. And think about flowers for the margins. Edible companion plants too. The height is your choice, but each size has its own limitations. So if you're going 12 to 18 inches, please read the lists of the best plants. You can go up to 24 inches for a different sort of plant, so it depends on what you're planting. Raised beds means less bending, but that requires more soil and stronger walls. Here are 2 store-bought examples. The one on the left is pretty red, not quite a keyhole, but mostly. The fiberglass can deteriorate, and lots of little fibers get everywhere, and oftentimes that means a color shift. The one on the right is squared off wooden, and it seems a bit flimsy and perhaps expensive, but if you're not a builder, but rather a grower, choose to make your life easier. This is a funky look, however, still very functional. The central basket for composting is woven, old bricks, straw on top to stop evaporation. It's situated in a hidden place. Maybe to try one of these to see if you like it before investing in a larger, taller one. If you love this concept and have lots of space and like things tidy, this one is for you. It's a keyhole surrounded by more keyholes and allows for walking or strolling through the space. It's also great for educating kids and grandkids. Design doesn't have to be expensive. Here is rosemary blooming and a garage sale llama. It's crazy to find this kind of lush shade in the Sonoran Desert. If it works there, it can work in Warner Springs too. Small gardens can be devotional as well. This one is also lighted. Plant an herb that you use often and send your regards each time you gather. The espalier is a great way to have fruit in a courtyard space. The pruning is very specific and must be studied. The lighting and heat reflected off of the wall is very important, but some espalier plants are on their own wire supports, so you don't necessarily have to have a wall. Some gardens are formal. The English and French are known for this type of gardening. This is a small exhibition garden. Beautiful plaques give meaning and teaching. Consider glazing your own. Many things can make a wall, stones from nature or purchased. I have collected old concrete and stacked it. Kind of like the look here. Here, sticks with wire make the wall higher. And if you have deer, this is very helpful and pretty inexpensive. As you are designing your garden, please think about harvesting your water. See the tank on the right? That holds water from the roof. And if you can, install solar. It's a win-win. People that are serious about their taste buds grow their own food. Look at how much food Cleo and Sim have managed to put in one tiny spot. Repurposing is fun and always gets a giggle from guests. Who went to the jojoba yard sale? Colorful pots help to accentuate the structure of an area. This is good because this desert garden doesn't have much space for plants, yet it has some, and they have made it beautiful. We have spoken about companion planting. Take a quick moment to read and do some internet searching, or get a reference book to help with planting choices. These choices can be helpful to each plant themselves. Here's a quick list. So, basil helps tomatoes. Borage helps orchards and strawberries. Chamomile helps cabbage, onions, and wheat. Dill is good for cabbage, but not for carrots. Fennel away from most everything. Sage protects cabbage, is good with carrots and rosemary, but not with cucumbers. Here are some kitchen staples to have on hand for refrigerator pickling, which I served in this class. I put in this slide to encourage us to look in books. Books are great, and they are always at the Friends of the Library. So bring some home for an inexpensive read. This is public art, in my opinion. It functions as a gate, uses recycled materials like old bottles that are held in place in a decorative way. This could be Corten steel that naturally rusts and then stops rusting. It won't rust away. Designed for bridges, but artists use it for the don't need to paint it every year kind of project. Invite kids to the garden. You might have a path of concrete in your yard or a sidewalk. A bin of chalk encourages kids to be free with design and word. The rain wipes the slate clean for the next round of art. Make sure and snap a pic of the great ones. This display garden had many sculptures in it. Hard to see, but this one incorporated garden tools, kind of up on the top. An old bird bath was added to with bits of glass, words, and ceramic finds in the thrift store. On the right is a concrete ball with glass mosaic. Thin setted in place, and after dry, grout is added to give it unity. These are cute, fun things that I found on a walk in a community. Stone Ridge has a tight community. The javelina of Arizona on the top left, the wheelbarrow of plants, the bright bench, look close in the tree where ornaments words, and color. The right is a way to bring water from the roof to the ground without splashing. Monsoonal rains can be very strong. These are handmade ceramic tiles and glass infill for a food theme. An old pedestal sink full of plants. Just lovely. It's great when you have the space for a destination in your garden. It's a de-stressor to be able to easily walk to a place and have a moment in nature. This is an old news slide now, but I left it in to give you a sense of some of the fun stuff we do in Warner Springs. This is Nina Karavasilis signing out. Have a good day. Plant a garden.